If you're just joining us, share the room out. Let everyone know that we're live. Alex will be joining us early tonight. Hopefully here in the next few minutes or so. Zach, what's going on?
Hey, I like your new profile picture, but does it come in something that looks less like Futurama? Like, you know, I like Leela, but I don't want to look like Leela.
You know what? I got a lot of excellent feedback about this, so I don't want to hear it. You got yours, man.
Excellent
Bring
feedback.
it on.
I'm sure it was excellent.
Come on, Zach. Come on, Zach.
I got a ton of people wanting to get this. So, yeah, for those of you in the audience, we're working on getting some NFTs produced for employees and stuff, and we're gonna have them given out during the AMAs. And if you collect a certain amount of them, I think we're working on being able to pay you guys out in crypto and stuff. So, yep, trying to get some of these processed and made for some of you guys in the community, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. Zach, I don't know why you don't have yours on. You're gonna have to break at some point, man.
I'm still waiting for mine to get reworked, so I don't have those goofy teeth that mine came with.
All right. All right. I don't know what to say. Maybe I'll make them without a smile. All right,
looks
Scott.
like I came out of an insane asylum. Like, come on, give me a break, man.
Scott, what's going on?
Come on, Zach. I mean, look at mine. I got a big cheesy smile on mine, so it can't be worse than mine.
Alex's is dope. Maybe change yours out, Zach, to the most recent one I got sent to you, and see what the community thinks.
I haven't seen it. Did you send it on WhatsApp?
Yep.
Okay.
The most recent one. Yep. And they did change the teeth. So, Rob, what's going on?
What's up, fellas?
Oh, they did, yeah.
Just another day, man. Just another day in paradise.
Yep.
Rob, I heard you're working on some things.
Someone has clearly misinformed you.
Rob, I'm working on one of these images for you as well. So.
Yeah, I figured that's what you're asking for earlier. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what I'm going to look like and if it actually looks like me or not.
You're gonna look cool, man. What do you mean? You're gonna look real cool.
Well, yeah, but other than cool.
Cooler.
That's true.
Come on, Rob. There's no I in team.
All right, guys. If you're just joining us, make sure you're sharing out the room. Alex should be joining us early, so hopefully we see him here in a few minutes, and then we'll be able to get rolling here. I asked you guys for some questions, and I know I've been asking you guys over the past couple of weeks for questions, trying to get more questions in the Friday AMAs, but also in here too. That way we can just cover all our bases and make sure you guys are getting clarity on all of your questions that you got going on. So I've got a big list here. I'll be able to go through them all. And yeah. So
yeah, I think we could just maybe go on as take some questions for now and wait for Alex to come in. I'll ping him.
Yeah, and before we get started, I'll give a special shout out to Jen, who had the opportunity to talk to a little bit, and her first time on the call here. And Jen, this is a forum for the community, the Celsius community, and we answer questions. If you have any question, or if anyone else in the room has any questions, feel free to hit the microphone button. We're here for you and here to answer questions. And our CEO, Alex Mashinsky, should be on shortly, but just wanted to give you a special welcome as a first-time person listening. So thank you for coming.
Yep, appreciate that. And just to set expectations, I do believe Alex has limited time tonight, so we're going to keep things around about an hour or so like that. So, speaking of, the man's in.
Wow, Alex is on Lombardi time today.
Yeah.
Alex, great job. Great job.
What's going on, Alex? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. Love the new NFTs. Great artwork.
You got to get yours on, man.
I know. I got to switch it over.
Zach's about to switch his too. All right. So, do you have any opening thoughts before we get rolling here?
Yeah, again, I think a lot of stress out there. The stock market is still trying to find kind of the right way to price assets. So things are moving up and down. And like I said, I think Bitcoin has never seen 8, soon to be 9 weeks in a row of red candles. And so we're definitely.
Hey, the week is not over yet. Okay, Alex. I don't want all that bearishness.
Well, I'm saying it in the way that the spring is being wound up, the stronger it will bounce back. So, I think the faster we kind of get rid of all the tourists and all the people who came here just for quick wins, right? The faster they leave, the sooner we're going to go back to sustainable growth. So, on top of the tourists, you also have, I think right now it's the highest short selling on Bitcoin in a very long time, meaning a lot of people are short. So that usually means that it will bounce back even harder. Because when people were long, I think Bitcoin was 47,000. I mentioned that on the AMA that we were at max long, and we went straight down from there. So now we should see the reverse of that, right? We should see all of these people who are thinking it's easy money to short Bitcoin. They all going to find out that everything works both ways. So the question is just, is it going to happen this week or is it going to happen next week, and so on. So those are, again, just sharing with you information that you all can see either on Glassnode or on whatever platform you use for your information. But
and how does this stuff, like, I've had clients call and ask, like, does this short-term price action hurt Celsius in any way? I know we've been running the company from $3,000 Bitcoin to $70,000 Bitcoin, but there's kind of a perception out there that we depend on the prices being high. If you could go into that.
Yeah, so we're not placing bets. We don't trade, right? We're not placing bets on Bitcoin going up or Bitcoin going down. That's not our job. Our job is just to keep the asset safe and make sure that we earn yield. And again, usually when there's a lot of volatility, the spreads, or basically what you charge for borrowing these assets, does increase. So we should be making more money now, but we make it in coin. So if Bitcoin is 30,000 instead of 60,000, then we make less, obviously, because in dollar terms we make half of what it was when it was 60,000, right, per Bitcoin. So our dollar revenue do decrease, but in coin terms they don't change much.
Okay, so like we're earning, give or take, about the same amount of Bitcoin, for example, but because the prices of those Bitcoin are less in dollar terms, it's a smaller amount.
Right.
Okay. But then all of our
we don't take directional bets on thinking that we know if Bitcoin's going up or down or anything like that.
Right. And then everything we owe to the community is in crypto, so we owe the community
right,
X amount of Bitcoin, and so it doesn't really matter what the price is. We still have that Bitcoin.
So our liabilities in what we pay in yield are back to back, meaning we're earning. Let's say we're earning whatever 5%, we pay 4%. We're earning 4%, we pay 3%. Whatever the numbers are, they're all in coins, so there's no mismatch there on any of our liabilities.
Do you still see? You think the bottom is likely in, even though we have quantitative tightening coming, like officially next week, and there's more basis points to go? You still think that we're near the bottom?
Or how long can they keep this up?
Yeah,
like,
that's another thing I have. Like, do you think that exactly, Zach? How long do you think they can do this?
So QT and about 8 hikes are priced in, right? It's not, none of the stuff is news to anybody on Wall Street. The issue is really, again, right? The issue on Wall Street is just the balance between buyers and sellers. That's the problem, right? The same thing on in crypto. There is a mismatch or lack of balance between buyers and sellers. So every day, more sellers show up, and no one is willing to step up and catch the falling knife because people assume that there is worse stuff tomorrow. So it has nothing to do with the fair value or what is what or whatever. And the minute it reverses, everybody's going to get greedy again, and they all going to pile up, right? So a lot of money, I think something like $4 trillion is on the sidelines, dry powder waiting to come into the market. And that's plenty to take the market up 10 or 15%, right? So the question is just when these people are going to decide, and are they all waiting for the Fed to say something? And like I said, I think the Fed is going to wait to see any indication that inflation is tamed. And my estimate is that they're going to need to see at least 3 months in a row. So that we've seen one, right? We went from 8.5% to 8.3. We're going to need to see at least 1 or 2 more for the Fed to be convinced that enough damage is done and the inflation is tamed. And then they basically, all they have to say is, we don't need to do 8 hikes. We're only going to do 5, right? That's all they have to say for market to rip up for a week in a row, So everybody's waiting to see the Fed step in, and we just don't know when it's going to happen.
And it was kind of interesting. I saw some comments from Fed members saying like, "Oh, there's more pain ahead," or "Oh, this could get a lot worse." And I feel like that when they're saying that out loud, it makes me reconsider to think that they're going to act in the opposite way, which I think is kind of an unhealthy measure of how our system works, right?
Well, look, at a certain point, too much damage to the economy is also not good, right? So they can't let the market just crash forever. So the question is just when do they step in? And I think I don't remember what was the numbers in COVID, but I think the market was down, I don't know, 30% or more, right? So we're getting very close to that range. And again, they don't have to save the market; they just have to say a few words, right, to stop the bleeding. So, but like markets were down, but Bitcoin was sideways today, right? Both Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think, were sideways. So you don't see. I think we kind of exhausted all the sellers on crypto, because I don't see, for the last few days, I have not seen any major downturn, right? It's all sideways. I'm talking about the main coins. I know the alts have been beaten up, but I'm just watching the big daddy,
And then as we've seen prices decline, or just like this crash in the last few weeks, there's definitely been a lot more vitriol on social media on all sides. I see projects attacking projects. I see a lot of anger and frustration and hate flying around, and it seems like kind of just bear market things. When prices go down, everyone is definitely a lot more on edge and pointing fingers.
Yeah, what's with that?
Well, I just did a post while others hate, Celsius innovates. So I had to use my rhyming skills there.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, they keep posting stuff from a few months ago, as if like, let's hope that no one will notice that Celsius debunked all of these rumors about this or that. All right, I mean, just like people wasting their time. Why don't we post a picture of Max Kaiser with Putin? We can put that up and remind everybody how he met with him a bunch of years ago. So it's just like silly stuff, But anyway, here we are. So
Alex,
let's talk about positive things.
one thing I would tell you is focus on your customers. All of these guys out here for the distraction. They're not going to send you any money. Why you focus on them? Focus on your customers.
Well, they're trying
Your
to steal our
customers,
customers. That's what they're
your
trying to do,
customers are going to send you the money. So let's focus on our customers.
Yep.
All right, so I got a bunch of questions throughout the week that I think would be good to go through because there's a lot of people that aren't able to join us, because of their time zone and whatnot. But I'll take 2 quick questions up here on stage, and then I'll roll through some of those. Cellcat, what's going on?
Hey, yeah, no, I saw all the nonsense. It's just kind of a rinse repeat every cycle, the maxis versus whatever, and it's all kind of necessary, honestly, because I think they bring people in, and then those people discover things like us and why we exist and all that kind of good stuff. So just kind of same old, same old. But Alex, I just kind of wanted to ask a question of what do you see with like. If you could give me just kind of like, I guess, what have you heard in regards to this multi-chain future? Because I've been looking into it and I think it's really amazing. And I just love to maybe pick your brain on, what you kind of see there, like with what Vitalik said about, needing something like what Celsius X is building.
Yeah, so look, we've been experimenting with centralized solutions and decentralized solutions, right? Since basically 2013, right? And everybody thinks in the beginning that something is amazing, and they all rush in, and then they realize, okay, well, it has limitations. Doesn't matter if it's centralized or decentralized. And bridges across blockchains to create a multi-chain solution for Web3 are just proven again and again and again to be too complex and easily hacked. And unfortunately, again, even things that got audited by 2 or 3 external auditors were found to be not hacker proof, right? And money was stolen, or people got stuck on not being able to recover, or all kind of bad things, right? So I think, again, we realized that, 2 years ago, and we started working on a multi-chain or cross-chain solution that involves effectively like a layer 0 wrapping and unwrapping, or minting and burning, versus creating these more of these hackable layer 2 bridges. And it was great to see Vitalik recently obviously Vitalik, everybody thinks of him as a fully decentralized father of Ethereum, never going to do anything centralized. And I think he came out and said, look, guys, if we want to create a multiverse a Web3 multiverse where we are cross-chain and we're enabling services or value to go across the entire Web3 network instead of just be stuck on this and that chain, we have to use some centralized solutions, right? And that's exactly what Celsius X is offering, right? And has been offering consistently in a safe way, in a reliable way, no hacks, no problems. And recently we introduced the CXBTC, so that's a wrapped version of Bitcoin that you can basically take. You can take Bitcoin, move it to Polygon or other chains that we'll be adding in the future, and basically put it as a collateral or borrow against, do all the DeFi activities. And if you want your Bitcoin back, you can go back and recover it instantly and have instant settlement and get your BTC back. And you can do all of that with no fees, right? You just take any Bitcoin you have on Celsius, you go to our web app, right, on Celsius.network, you just log in at the top right side, and you're inside the web app, and there you just go and use Celsius X to wrap your assets, and it mints you a CXBTC, which many platforms accept as Bitcoin on Polygon or Ethereum and so on. So So those are very unique capabilities. I don't know anybody else who can do that across 5 or 6 blockchains. And said before, what Celsius does, no one else in the world does, right? You can't, if you take all the services that Celsius provides, there isn't anyone else, not Binance, not FTX, not all these companies that you guys think are amazing and big and powerful. None of them does any of this stuff, right? They can't. And again, part of the reason we can is because we are neutral. We don't have our own blockchain. And when you don't have your own blockchain, you're not competing with people like Polygon. So they want to integrate with you. They want to solve these problems with you, right? So normally, if you're competing with them, like if you have a blockchain called BSC, they're not going to want to work with you, right? Because you're competing with them on this or that. So that's the kind of the main idea, and we're going to be adding more assets and more capabilities. And again, we're looking to partner with many different chains or many different projects that want to expand these capabilities. But like you said, it's great to see Vitalik on siding up with technology and not necessarily with centralized or decentralized.
Yeah, I think that like it's absolutely true, and I see it also as like this potential, right? Like one of the highest yielding assets is synthetics, right? With the derivatives, so that's pretty big.
Yep, and again, it's a little bit of a wild west still. From like you have to know your craft. I mean, if you're a beginner, don't try to do DeFi or try to become a degen overnight, right? So part of what we also offer in this Celsius X environment is like a sandbox where it's safe to experiment. You're not going to get yourself in trouble or get somebody to scam you or steal your coins or things like that. So it's definitely a nice place to get started, learn all the skills, and then you want to go from there to try some other more advanced DeFi stuff. Great, you can move on. You don't have to stay inside the Celsius walled garden.
So, did that answer your questions or?
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you, and just keep up the great work, you guys. I love your profile pictures. You guys are awesome.
Got you one coming, man. Clancy, what's going on? Then I'm going to dive into a bunch of these questions I got here.
Yeah, I'll just change my question. I'll just ask like similar to the questions just asked there. Alex, how do you feel? Like, I guess, what's the path to gaining more awareness within the overall crypto ecosystem for Celsius X? Like, is it going to be, grassroots marketing where you go on shows and like, basically bring the awareness to these different audiences through all the great podcasts you go on and all the great streams you do, or just like how do you break through? Because like you have obviously a really good technology, but it's like how does it gain the awareness within the overall crypto space? That this is something that people should be using and could benefit from. So like, yeah, I just wonder kind of the path to gaining awareness, I guess, within the overall ecosystem of crypto.
Yeah, so there isn't that much overlap between kind of core DeFi guys and CeFi guys, right? So Celsius is very strong with hodlers, CeFi hodlers, and things like that. We're not that strong actually on the DeFi side, right? Most DeFi people don't necessarily come to Celsius and earn yield or take a loan or whatever. They kind of live on the DeFi platform. So with Celsius X, we're effectively bridging the gap, right? We're giving some of these pure DeFi guys something that they're looking for, right? That they can natively go in and out of, which is much closer to what they do every day. So, and then we for example, we just participated in Permissionless in West Palm Beach, where the entire show was all about DeFi basically. And, I was on the stage there with Chainlink talking about proof of reserves, CCIP, and all these capabilities that we are launching together with them on DeFi. And, the room was standing room only, right? I posted on Twitter for those who missed it, right? I mean, hundreds of people in the room, just wanting to learn everything about Celsius X and proof of reserves and everything else that we were working on together. So we're definitely, we had thousands of people come to our booth, and so I think we've done a very good job. The team, our Celsius X team was on the floor, had dozens of meetings, and I think we did a great job, educating people about these capabilities. So it just takes a little bit of time, right? And I think on one side, unfortunately, again, more and more people are going to get hurt on this L2 bridges, and more people are going to learn that okay, doing L0, minting and burning is the future. And again, I think there's more assets on L0 between WBTC and CXBTC and so on than all the L2 bridges put together, right? So if you look at the amount minted, L0 is already winning, right? The native stuff is already winning or has been winning for a long time. So again, it's not the competition. It's all about safety and delivery. But if one bridge is broken and people constantly fall into the river and the other bridge delivers, who's going to keep using the first bridge? In a sense, everybody's going to switch over and stop using the broken bridge. And that's where we are. People keep, they still keep trying to use the L2 smart contracts, and more and more people get hurt over time, and it's just not a good solution, not for tech and not for. It's not about, like, it's not like we're making money on this. It's not we're promoting something because we charge fees or whatever. We're just really trying to provide, with Chainlink, right? Try to provide a reliable, scalable solution for the entire industry.
So it's just essentially it's going to take the overall crypto space, educating the overall crypto space. So like through these hacks and these people losing funds, like eventually you kind of see it where people within crypto are eventually going to educate that this is the better option for people from a safety standpoint, technology standpoint. So yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. I'll let you guys move on.
That's all good, Clancy. All right. Like I said earlier, I got like 51 different questions on a post I got, or on a post I put out earlier. So I'm going to run through some of these questions, make sure that we're getting to all of you guys' questions here. So Alex Restucia asked, as a U.S. non-accredited user, the main value of holding Cell/Platinum tier is to get early access to new features such as swap. The current loyalty model actually encourages me to withdraw non-Cell coins in order to reach a higher tier. What can you do to fix this?
What can I do to fix it? I understand what you're saying. I don't know, Zach, do you have a solution?
Yeah, that's why we kind of put in those flat tier levels, the 1,000, 10,000, 25,000. Because the way we had it before was exactly right. If you lowered your holdings in the app to match your Cell ratio, then it was beneficial. But then we put in those kind of those floors. So when you hit 1,000 tokens, you're guaranteed silver. When you hit 10,000, you're guaranteed gold, and then 25,000 platinum. So below that, I could see that being an issue. But as long as you hit that 1,000 level, it doesn't matter what the rest of your portfolio is. You'll maintain that silver status. And the objective here is to get 100,000 people to hold 1,000 Cell, right, or 10,000 or 25,000, and get that mass utility adoption. And that's what we're moving towards now. A lot of conversations there.
All right. So if I call on, if you hear your name called, just come up to stage. Feel free to come up to stage. But the next person was Crypto Gil. He wanted to know when swap feature and on and off ramps will be available in South America.
Well, we are looking at each country to see what are the local laws, if we're allowed to or not allowed to open stuff. And remember, on swaps, we're still in beta. So I think first week of June, we're going general availability. So we're going to be making it much broadly available, both in the US and overseas. Just wanted to test a few more things. So we're almost there. And the same thing with on-ramps, right? On-ramps in 40 states or so should be available, general availability. I think it's towards the end of June. So all that is coming. And again, I don't have a list in front of me, which states or countries or whatever, but it really has a lot to do with the regulations. If your country restricts stuff or requires a specific, like I think Argentina, they're very strict about like you need a banking license or something like that, then we can't do it, right? I don't know if you saw in the news, but they just restricted two of their largest banks from offering crypto payments and crypto storage. So we cannot change any of these laws, right? We have to follow the local regulation.
I think that creates like, well, I guess looking at other companies, people will say, well, why can so and so do this or so and so do that, but Celsius can't? And it kind of creates this level of frustration among the user base. But it's just us, again, being very diligent on the rules and regs of each area.
Yeah, and if somebody else is breaking the law, they don't care about it. Doesn't mean that we should do the same thing, right? So we we stay out of trouble by following the rules. A lot of other people who are making these decisions are probably taking much more risk than we are willing to do.
Got it. Thanks for that answer. The next person here is Excel, and he asks, will Celsius DeFi or Celsius X ever have a GUI or web app so users can more directly interact with it?
Yeah, I would say we probably will add it to our API library so people can work with it on, more like for devs and programmers and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be coming.
Is that something that you see US users being able to use anytime in the near future? Asking personally.
I don't think there's a restriction for US users right now. So if you go to the web app, I don't think you're restricted as a US user from Celsius X. I mean, there might be one or two assets that aren't available in this or that place, but in general, I don't think there's any Celsius X restriction.
Got it. The next person, his name is Random Stranger, and he's asking, what will the rates for U.S. non-accredited staking be? I don't know if you would know
that. So it's basically whatever the staking income is minus the small commission that we charge. So I think we'll be publishing the full rate and then telling you how much we charge as a commission. So we do have a small fee because we provide all the other stuff for free. And again, we don't have any other source of income for this. So we do charge we're going to charge a small fee on it. But all that's going to be disclosed and you'll be able to see the rate and the fee.
And then that's actually another vector for us to implement cell utility where we can either reduce or get rid of that fee for different tier levels.
Got it. Moving on to the next person. His name is Kishan, and he's asking when swaps are coming out for non-accredited US. He lives in Arizona, basically. He wants to know when swaps are coming to Arizona.
Yeah, so swaps don't have any accredited or non-accredited, right? Non-accredited US can do loans and swap and on-ramps and credit card and everything. None of those things are restricted for non-accredited. I know, again, when you guys read the articles and they say Celsius blocks US users, that's just not what's happening, right? The Celsius, is only restricting new users for yield, right? That's the only thing that's restricted is new users for yield. But for swaps, for staking, for credit card, for on ramps, all that is going to be available to everybody, both for old coins and for new coins. So just hang tight. Again, June, July, you have all these things coming, full availability, right? It's days away. So you'll see it, and it's going to be general availability. So basically, unless your state specifically blocks something, all the stuff will be available to all of our users.
Got it. Thanks for that. Alan, welcome to the stage. What's your question or comment?
Hey, Alex, I got a question for you. So I write software, and some of the customers that I use, they're asking when can I enable the feature to move funds in between earn and custody through the API. Do you know when that's going to be available?
I don't. I know we have people working on the API, but I have no idea what's coming next. So I don't have we have to talk to our product guys.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for coming up, Alan. The next person in the question thread here was Crypto Rentier, and it's a couple questions related to France. It looks like when swaps for looks like the French flag. When swaps for France? When loans for France? And is the Visa card going to be available in France as well?
And when are you moving to France?
Well, we were just in France. We were at the blockchain what is it called? The BC, whatever the name of the conference was. It was in the Paris Stock Exchange, one of the oldest buildings in Paris. So the good news, again, the credit card is after we launch in the US, the next offering is going to be in Europe. So it is going to be available in Europe. I don't know what the rules are for swaps in France. I don't know if it's available or restricted or whatever. So I don't have answers for each country. Too many countries in the world. Again, we follow the rules. So whatever the rules are, I just can't remember. I'm sorry. Can't remember what the French, restrictions or availability is.
Fair enough. I made the title the ETH merge here, turning the tide of crypto. Do you have an opinion on, do you think it's going to be delayed again? And also, do you think that if it is successful, that it could completely turn the tide for crypto and maybe kick off another bull run? Maybe we don't have to wait for another halving.
It looks good. I mean, I've from looking at the code and the testing, right? They have a test net that everything looks fine on. It looks like it's gonna happen this time. And if it happens and they have a problem, they're just gonna reverse, right? Go back or patch it. So this is not. It's just the first merge, right? There's more that has to happen to kind of actually add speed and reliability and sharding and all these other things that really gonna turn on the heat on Ethereum. So it's not like this merge solves everything, but it does get rid of proof of work, which is a big ball and chain on the Ethereum network, right? From a kind of speed and cost and energy consumption and stuff like that. So is it going to immediately turn everything on? Probably not, right? So you're going to need a few months. You're going to need developers to, get going. And look, I attended an event last night in New York City here downtown. There was a gathering of all the kind of crypto geeks in a new building that opened up that's all Web3 companies, right? The whole building is just Web3 companies. And there were hundreds of people there, all developing and collaborating and innovating, and like not a single person was talking about the stock market, or they probably don't have any stocks, so they're not interested about any of that stuff, and they're just focused on building things, right? And obviously I was the oldest guy in the room. Everybody was like in their 20s, and so none of these people care about you know the Fed or what's happening or the stock market or whatever, right? They're just focused on building the next great Web3 companies that really helps people move forward, that is decentralized and so on. So that's already happening. You don't need this merge to make all that happen, right? And um, at Celsius we do the same thing, right? We try to innovate every day. Again, like I said, we've delivered or are launching more products this year than we've done in the last 2 years, right? So in the first 6 months, we're going to be fully running on more products than we did in 2 years. And that's what the community was waiting for. It's just coming now. So do you think somebody's not going to order their credit card or not going to use swaps or wait on their own ramps because whatever? They're not. They're just going to start using this stuff. Um, so I'm not worried. I just think whatever, we have to go through a winter. Well, guess what? We already did 4 winters. So welcome winter number 5. No problem. We'll get through it.
Awesome. Thanks for answering my question. On the ETH2 front, Hash Money, I saw you in the room. I invited you up on stage. I saw on this list here you have a question about ETH2. So whenever you come up, I'll just let you ask it. XL had another question. What is the recent partner with Real Vision all about? Can you talk more on it?
Yeah, so Real Vision, I think, creates amazing content about crypto and about finance. I've done 3 or 4 interviews with them already, and so I think some of them are posted on the website if you missed it. And we want to continue educating and sharing stuff with their community, right? So it's great to be included. I mean, they we attend their events. I've been a speaker at their events, and they invite us to their conference in Las Vegas. So we were on the floor. We did the AMA right from the floor, and Raul Pal stopped by and said hello, and I was on the main stage later on that day. So it's just a great partnership. It's they have great guests. They have great customers. People that are, either sign up to the newsletter or part of the Real Vision community, and it's a like-minded group, very similar to Celsius. So it's very easy to work with them and collaborate.
I would think that their subscriber base would be very interested in what we have going on over here.
Yeah, we already have many users. I meet a lot of people who tell me, "Oh, I'm a Real Vision guy," and so on. So definitely a lot of overlap in our community and their community.
Agreed. Hash Money, welcome up to stage. Did you want to ask your ETH2 question?
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and always answering our questions. Real quick, just had a quick question since the ETH2 merge is supposedly happening. And we have our ETH in the wallets and in our pretty much embedded in Celsius, whether it's Celsius X or just sitting gaining yield. Are you guys, when the merge takes place, going to automatically kind of switch over or restake or adjust or do whatever you got to do with our ETH to make it be compatible with the 2.0? Or are we going to have to kind of take it all out? You guys are going to do what you got to do and then kind of restake it. Do you know anything on that?
Yeah, so we have to see what they're going to launch with, and I assume if the rate is higher, we're just going to automatically stake you at the higher rate. So that's what we're planning on right now. There is a waiting list for staking, so we have to see how we manage that, right? How do we, right now I think it's like 2 weeks of waiting just to spin those nodes. So we have to get through that, figure out how we're going to get everybody on it. But the idea is to automatically get you, going, so you don't have to do anything yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
But we'll publish something probably in July with the details and everything else. So I know the teams are working on it.
Thanks for coming up, Hash Money. Next question here is Brian Eller, and maybe Zach, you would know this. Have the on ramps been cut yet? Have the on ramps been cut yet? Oh, cut on yet for the state of Virginia? Didn't get that slang there.
You know what? I don't know. That might actually be best for Rob, who's working on that team, and he could discuss a little bit more about that.
Rob, what you got?
Yeah. So for Virginia specifically, I'm not sure off the top of my head. We've only deployed the 5 Circle states as of right now. So Circle is one of our partners. We're working on another partner who is Wire, and they'll be supporting, I believe, 26 states when we go live sometime in the near future. So I'm not going to explicitly go through all 26 because I did not get permission to do so internally. But yeah, so it'll be available to 26 states.
What do you mean? We have the CEO on the line right now. All you
That
gotta do
is
is ask
true,
for permission.
but I didn't ask directly to the CEO, so. And I'd have to pull up that list of 26. So.
Is there anything interesting upcoming you can share with us?
Internal testing is starting this week. So I'm one of the testers. There's, I think, 10 to 15 different employee members all across the country that are testing these on-ramps. So yeah, hopefully work out all the kinks as soon as we possibly can. That way we can get it in the hands of as many customers as we can as soon as possible. There is a little tidbit that I found out today. So all of these sub-custody states, so all the states, I believe there's 9 of them that do not have any approved custody accounts, will not be getting on-ramps through either partner, at least initially. And I believe there is work being done to allow accredited investors to do that, but no definitive on that yet, because there's challenges with going directly to earn versus going directly into custody, because everyone else, their on-ramps will go directly into custody accounts. And then if you are an accredited investor, you could just move them over yourself. So hopefully that was clear.
Yeah, not so clear, but we'll wait for it to launch. Anyway, I got to drop off because I got to take a call. But thanks, guys, and hodl on. We'll be fine, and I'll see you Friday on the AMA.
Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Take care.
Zach, you feel like taking a few questions?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
This next person was Sanjoy Biswas. When will CoinDesk...
we know Mr. Sanjoy Biswas.
He basically wants to know when the CoinDesk option will be released and available to mobile or web app.
No, I don't have any updates on that.
Yeah. Next person is Marcus. Oh, this is a good one for you. Next one is Marcus. Cell Team 6 update, please. It's been far too long and the community wants to know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, you were part of that meeting yesterday. Obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and a much more holistic approach at the entire token model. So, the events that have taken place have given us an opportunity to kind of reset where we are and what we're thinking, and not make minor changes, but really make fundamental structural changes. So, the company is putting a lot of time and energy into the token right now. It's been made a top priority by multiple teams, and we are dedicated to building this community asset and make it a true utility within our ecosystem, and then grow that ecosystem as much as possible. So, this is Celsius Network. It's not Bitcoin Network. It's not Ethereum Network. It's Celsius Network. So Cell Token needs to be fundamental to everything you do within Celsius. At the same time, we don't want to exclude too many users, right? We still want to make it easy to join, but we do want to give those much better, our premium services, higher rates, better access to swaps and fiat gateway, and all of these things absolutely should be tied to Cell Token, because again, those are the people that found or helped found the company, right? They were the ICO investors, and that's what those tokens were used for. So, tripling down on this effort, getting way more help at the highest levels of the company, getting those approvals, and relooking at everything from the bottom up. So that would be the current update I have.
Yeah, just to ask you guys a question, like, would you say the biggest, I guess, hurdle, roadblock, or just thing you guys have to deal with the Cell Token, would you say it's just strictly to do with legal and what, you guys are allowed to do because Celsius is treating Cell Token as a security? Because like I went through all the exchange tokens, I went through all the centralized, tokens that are connected to lending and borrowing platforms. And I mean, we know at this point Celsius has massively underperformed. We don't need to dwell on that. But I'm just looking forward and looking at the path for Cell Token, and all these other coins are not being treated as securities. And so the amount of utility, the amount of things that they're able to do, I guess, like Alex said on the last call, you guys want to go towards decentralizing Cell Token. But if Celsius, the company, is unwilling to not treat Cell Token as a security, I just see this chicken and egg situation where, you know what I'm getting at. Like I just see this chicken and egg thing where you can't use Cell Token in Celsius X because it'll be treated as a security. So we missed a massive opportunity with Celsius X. And I'm just like, how do you guys get liquidity if you're not willing to use Cell Token in the larger ecosystem of crypto because you're worried about it being treated as a security? So you can't use it on these pairs. You can't use it on these pairs because then it's being treated as like, then it's an issue. Then the company is, potentially selling the Cell Token to the greater, non-US people. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like this chicken and egg thing. Same with deploying the Cell Treasury, same thing. Chicken and egg, right? You can't get liquidity, so how can you deploy the token? It comes back to legal. So like, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, if we take it back to 2017 or 2018 when all this was conceptualized, everything was very different back then, and even for a short period of time, there was availability to U.S. users, but then we changed that as regulations started to develop and mature. So nice about the aftermath of all of this is we get to stop and take a look at everything in a very holistic model, and look at everything fundamentally from bottom to top. So not going into specifics, but we're taking all that into consideration and seeing what the best token model is for the company and the community and the employees and everyone that Cell Token is supposed to represent. We think that having a membership token, a utility token, is extremely valuable, but we understand, the limitations and the environment that we've gotten into and are going into. So now we get to kind of look at the last 5 years of experience and see how can we shape this token model to do what it's supposed to do and truly become a community asset that the vast majority of people can participate in, and we can utilize on DeFi, on the bridges that we build, and also bridges of token partners that we have. So all of this stuff is there's a massive document going on as we discuss these ideas and start implementing things. And this has given us an opportunity to restart and refresh our thinking again from the ground up. So all those concerns that you brought up last week, Plan C, definitely all heard and understood, and these are the challenges that we're tackling right now.
Yeah, because I'll just say one last thing and then I'll let you guys move on. But like, because I just looked at it today and I'm just looking, like I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so Celsius, the company, is just as successful, if not more successful, than all these other centralized companies. There's more potential, in my opinion, than a lot of these centralized companies that have these tokens that have had way more success. And the only differentiating factor I can see is strictly comes down to these other tokens are not treating their tokens as securities, and they're willing to take more risk within the legal framework, and they're also catering to a larger audience within crypto, not just the users of their app.
Right.
right?
And
So
like part of that decision making is there a risk with compliance. And I think it's been made clear that if you raise money with a token, that it's going to be considered a security. So there's, just because others are working outside that framework or that direction doesn't mean we should. It means that we have to adapt to the new framework and environment to maximize, our asset within our ecosystem for our community.
The majority that you're checking out, too, Plancy, I'd be willing to bet they're all non-US, right? Because every US exchange, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, none of them have a token.
right, what about okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying. But like, yeah, okay. No, I know you guys know all this stuff. It's more just for, people listening maybe to understand that some of the, hurdles, they're just hurdles that you guys are up against, right? So, the reason why I'm still holding is because I believe there's a path to getting around these things. And I know you guys are focused on doing that. So it's just understand the challenges, right? Like we understand our challenges, our lack of liquidity and legal, and then we just figure out a way to make moves to get around those hurdles, essentially.
Right. And there are challenges 100%. This is not going to be an easy road, but like this is one of the greatest challenges that I've gotten to work on. The fact that we have this massive community of hundreds of thousands of people and the community asset that I want to implement in every single product that we have to make it better. And then that rewards our community with higher rewards, better access, better limits, all of these things that make Celsius an even better service. Because again, going back to the beginning, it was the Celt token that seed funded the company for all intents and purposes. And, holding the token, I think, should be an absolutely critical part of all of our products and services. We've moved away from that in the past because I think maybe lack of foresight or how quickly we were growing, we didn't consider all these things, maybe some technical restrictions as well. But even as we treat Celt token as a security, that doesn't block US users from holding it. It doesn't block US users from acquiring it in different ways. And then we also have the entire international community that can access this token on a number of exchanges and really not have any issues like that at all. So, these aren't unsolvable challenges. We just really have to look back at the blueprint and remake the token model in a way that suits this environment that we much better understand versus 5 years ago when there was a lot less clarity and a lot more uncertainty.
What really last quick thing? Sorry, I know I'm talking too much. Just to do with the withdrawals, right? So say there's I don't know how many users in the app, right? So that actually have assets in the app, right? There's a lot.
Right.
So they have to hold 10 Celt tokens or 100 Celt tokens. I mean, it's just everyone in crypto is super used to having a withdrawal fee when they use an exchange or when they use any kind of centralized. It's super normal. Like you have a small withdrawal fee. But if you hold the native token like FTT, BNB, all these tokens, you have to hold at least a minimum amount of tokens. Then you save on the withdrawal fees. So I mean, unless you're platinum or something, right?
Those
you know
the
that.
exact applications that we need to implement and are planning to implement. So Celsius wants to do everything fee free, but I think we have to give special treatment to our token holders, right? Because those are like the core community members in a way, and they're supporting Celsius. So an idea that we've talked about a lot is having maybe on-chain fees for non-token holders, and then covering X amount of free withdrawals, and then maybe unlimited free withdrawals for platinum users. And this solves also the free rider problem where we have a minority of users that do the majority of the withdrawals, and they tend not to be large token holders. So I think it's really beneficial move for the company and the community, and our community asset. So it's a lot of like common sense stuff like that it's not so much the idea, because the idea makes perfect sense. It's now we finally have the resources and the attention to get those ideas implemented in our roadmap, where developer work was so tight. We couldn't get any major projects through. It was very difficult. So we kind of made the changes that we could, but that wasn't good enough. So now we need to go and dig deeper.
Crypto, what's going on?
Hey guys.
A couple quick questions about the general health of Celsius. I mean, I've got a lot. I've got a lot with you guys, a considerable amount. So I'm definitely trying to keep in touch with what's going on with the company. So ever since the Luna implosion, you guys may have noticed an inordinate amount of flooding online going on, a lot of attacks against exchanges, including Celsius. I have noticed. Yes, I have noticed. A lot of the community has noticed. So, I'll try to defend where I can and without getting into a war online, right? But I try to make positive comments whenever possible. But two things that I'd say concern me a little bit. One, I haven't seen the weekly by the numbers since since the first week after the implosion of Luna, and I know there was a lot of bleeding going on there due to all the panic and everything. But so the weekly by the numbers, Alex has always said good or bad, they put them out. So I don't know if you guys have made an internal decision for the time being to just kind of sit on that, because you don't want to contribute to the panic, which I would understand. And secondly,
yeah, I'll address one at a time.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so last week we did do a number, just did it in a different format, and it was kind of shooting from the hip, and it'll be much more precise this week. But yeah, last week we had a chart that showed how much was withdrawn basically, and then how much the value changed of the crypto itself, right? We don't have any control over that part, but yeah, we did change the format last week and got a lot of feedback like, hey, why did you guys change this? We don't understand, it's not as clear, and so therefore we're going to make changes for that this Friday.
Okay. Yeah, because I think at a time when people are they're a little panicky, it doesn't I mean, you guys got to make certain decisions that you might find in the best interest of the company at the same time as your customers, but it would contribute to the worry if there's a failure to disclose information, because then the fudders can start fudding, and we don't, we can't call them on it. We can't call them out on it because we, so. But secondly,
which is interesting because none of our competitors do anything even close to that, and you could still check proof of community. It's just we changed how we presented that information on the AMA. And it did create a lot of concern, like you said, primarily just because we changed, right? Not because we were hiding anything or anything was different, besides the fact that we changed how we displayed those numbers, and that made a huge difference.
Yeah, and you technically don't have any obligation to. I mean, huge props for you guys to reach out with that information and disclose it on a regular basis. So I'll give you kudos for that. And this could be pure FUD, but I have seen when I go on the Celsius Twitter page and I'm scrolling through reading periodically, the last couple of weeks I've seen a considerable amount of people, and they could be bots, they could be just fudders, claiming that they can't, their accounts are like all of a sudden locked up and they can't get any one Celsius to respond. Now it seemed like there was a barrage of that going on, so it could just be total FUD. But I'm just curious. I mean, are you guys having capacity issues going on, or was there anything that may have? I mean, I'm sure people get locked out all the time for very good reasons, right? And sure, but when I saw kind of a wave of people saying, "I can't get to my account and I can't pull any money out,"
yeah, I don't know of anything internally that happened. During the peak of the crash, what was a week and a half ago, there were definitely delays on the blockchain, but I mean, we processed everyone's withdrawals at the end of the period, right? Like those withdrawals didn't stop. We had plenty of liquidity. There's no issue there. I know the number one reason for an account getting frozen is referral abuse, suspicion of referral abuse, or making fraudulent transactions. Outside of that, I have not heard of anything. So it could be bots.
I clicked on hey Zach. I clicked on all those accounts because I saw that the other day on one of Alex's posts. There was like probably 2 dozen or a dozen of those similar comments. So I went through each of the profiles and looked at the profiles, And I mean, they're bots, man. They're bots. Like,
Okay,
there's
yeah.
definitely probably some unique situations where, there's, but I mean, I personally, I
Sure.
took funds off the app. I had no problems. I just wanted to see, if there'd be any issues. I took, all my funds off the app just to see, and there was no problems whatsoever. And
Sure.
and I just think these are bots. Like, I think right now is just a full-on attack against Celsius. And like these accounts had like a couple followers, like one post. I mean, they're bots.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very likely, and it
Yeah.
feels like there has been a coordinated attack the last week. So high likelihood of that. But
Right.
please let me know next time you come across that, because that's stuff that we actually have to fight. We report it to our security team, and they go after that and try to defend us as best as possible.
I mean,
Because
I would see replies from Celsius saying, please contact us. Now, that could be FUD too. I don't even know if those are real responses.
probably we do have
Yeah,
some community managers that
Okay.
yeah, that's my area. That's my area, and
Okay.
so I'm going to jump in here. So one of my teams has been experiencing a lot of that. I've been meeting with the folks in security, the folks in risk, and our security is doing an excellent job on jumping on situations that are questionable. So there are situations where we investigate, and then we do an investigation and we determine the outcome of that. But this is a credit, not a hindrance. This is a credit to our security department because they're doing their jobs and they're being very, very active. So it's a combination of many things. It's a combination of the bots. It's a combination of uh, our security team looking closer at certain events that are happening and doing a proper investigation. And while they do a proper investigation, there may be some times where people do not have access to their funds. So it's nothing to be alarmed about. It's just Celsius's top-notch security doing its job. And when they determine the outcome, they act accordingly. So just wanted to add that.
because what those bots do is they scare other users or potential users, right? And that's
Exactly.
exactly what they're designed to
Yeah,
do.
that's exactly right. So
It's malicious.
they're there for a purpose, and that's to scare people. And like, oh, I mean, just like Plan C just said, he tested it, right? He
Right.
got it taken out $10, but still, I mean, if he takes out $10, I mean, look, how about the person who takes out $10 of Ethereum? I mean, how much
Right.
of the transaction fees do you have to eat when someone takes out $10? Probably $50 of transaction fees
Right.
for someone to take out $10 just because they want to test it because they read online they couldn't take out money. I've got 4 accounts in my immediate family. We've never had a single problem in a year of using Celsius pretty actively. I mean, I'm mostly putting money in rather than taking it out, but never once had a problem. So, my personal experience has been perfect across the board. Never one hiccup or glitch or anything.
Every Monday, those rewards came in every Monday. Are you sure we didn't miss one?
Never missed one. I mean, I remember when you used to give them to me at like 6 a.m. So by the time I got out of bed, they were there. And then when you started putting them out in the afternoon, I was like, oh man, I was getting spoiled, right? I had to wait till the afternoon to get them. But it looks like you're back to kind of paying them out in the AM versus the afternoon. But no, you never missed. I've never had a problem with the account lockup, access. I mean, occasionally you guys are doing maintenance on the app, and you seem to do an inordinate amount of updates on the app, which is probably a good thing as you're keeping it, it shows me you got a team on there that constantly updating the app. But when you see a bunch of people spreading FUD online like that, I mean, I want to make sure it is FUD, which I was pretty confident it was, and alert you to it. I'm sure you guys are looking at the page all the time. But that's it. You guys are on top of it. It sounds like, so that's good.
Thanks for coming in, Crypto, and that's why we host these rooms. It's a proper defense against crap like that. So,
all right, thank you.
Yeah,
Josh,
Rob,
can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. So I think last week specifically, there's also another thing to consider when things like withdrawals may be slower, or you may have issues with withdrawals or deposits. Is we do use other partners, so like Fireblocks and other folks for custody and for their services. So there are certain times where they're having issues, but it's obviously transparent to a user. Like it looks like Celsius is having issues. I think Litecoin, they are having some issues with last week, but that got resolved at some point. So withdrawals were delayed for a little bit. So just something to keep in mind that it may not be the blockchain itself. It may be our partners that are having issues as well, or Celsius. So it could be a number of things if there are any issues.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. There's several layers to put through a transaction, right? It's got to go through Celsius's approval, then it's got to go from our custodian, and then it actually has to be transmitted on the blockchain. So at times there can be delays in any of those, but I think specifically in this last downturn, we did really, really good and had every transaction out in a matter of hours, which understandably can be frustrating to some because they feel that, oh, if I don't get my money out this very second, then I'm going to lose money doing something else. But, getting everything out, hundreds of millions of dollars transactions processed in a few hours was a great accomplishment for us. So,
and I could also say that as these things come up in the community and people report them, we get customer service calls. They are brought up very quickly internally on our Slack channels and our various communications internally. So there's always people that are asking me like, hey, are we having an issue here? Is this supposed to be doing this? This customer brought up this issue. Is this a recurring thing? Is this a one-off thing that someone needs to look at? So coming to the company almost 3 months ago, or a little over 3 months ago, it's like people are very proactive in trying to figure out what the heck's going on as quickly as we can. So I'll just leave it at that. I do have a nugget later for everyone, but I'll let that marinate a little bit. We'll come back to it.
Well, we'll get Cellcat's question, then we'll come to your nugget. Cellcat, what's going on?
I was just gonna see if I could ask you, Zach, if there's anything you could go into regarding selling the credit card. I'm just eager.
We've solidly locked that in, and that's one of the biggest utility platforms for Cell Token. I think after Yield will be the credit card. So just the Prakash and the credit card team have committed to having Cell Utility in there. I'm very excited for it. I'm happy with the model that they came out with. I think the credit card is going to be competitive. But I'll tell you what, learning about credit card economics, it is a very low margin business, and you're really counting fractions of a percent. Everything's done in basis points. If I can save 5 basis points here or pay 25 basis points in rewards over there, that means a lot. So the credit card team's been doing an amazing job. We have it structured in a way that will significantly reward Cell Token holders while also creating a good base product to get more users into Celsius in the first place. And that's something that is really big with the credit card is total user adoption. And then on top of that, having adoption of Cell Token for those users.
Do you think it's going to make the crypto.com debit card or whatever, crypto.com?
We'll have to see what their rewards are. Again, we're not in the business of subsidizing and then losing a bunch of money on products. So I think what we came out is going to be very competitive in the current market, and then again provide significant bonuses to our token holders.
Oh yeah, I'm all about just sustainability because that's all that matters, right? Like if you're paying 1% 1 month and then it's got to go down to a fraction of nothing, and then now it's 12%, and it's all nonsense. So yeah, sustainability. That's what I love. The 6 legs of the stool, all that kind of stuff. That's why I love Celsius. Is just that kind of distribution of risks. Not just having that one leg of the stool.
Yeah, and the credit cards are, again, there's a huge amount of interest in this area. And it's when we perceive that level of interest, the amount of resources that go into those projects increases dramatically. So, Prakash was kind of
flying under the radar, if you will, and just building the foundation of this product. And then in the last month or so, it became hugely apparent that this was a massively important product to everybody. So now a ton of time and focus has been put on this, and more resources so that we can launch it out again to as many people as possible. Brian on the call has done designing the actual card itself, and we're all very excited to be able to launch this to hundreds of thousands and then millions of Celsians, and then attract all these new users to the platform so they can earn yield, they can take out loans, they can do free swaps. And I think it's going to be a great chance to grab customers from outside of crypto and from competitors, and have them try all the services that we offer that are superior, right? They just don't know about them yet. And I think the credit card will get them over the line to try us for the first time.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Cellcat. Rob, what's your nugget?
So the nugget is that so for the existing Circle customers in the 5 states, the only available stablecoin they can get come into or purchase, is USDC, because that's what Circle does. For Wire, there will be 6 different stablecoins that users can buy into, including USDC. So I'll leave it at that.
Oh, spicy.
Yeah, six different ones. And then the not too distant future, here's another little nugget. You'll be able to buy certain other coins and or tokens directly in the not too distant future.
That will be the game changer.
Correct.
I think to be able to buy coins for 0 fee and near 0 spread, we'll have to see the pricing. That would be something else. That's something that nobody else offers.
Correct. Yeah. So what's going to be interesting about that is the way it's implemented. This is just for everyone's awareness, is that this is where Celsius differentiates itself, right? So we're using Wire as a partner. We're using their pricing engine. That pricing engine includes the coin price in addition to a fee that they charge for the purchase. Celsius will be covering that fee on behalf of its users. So that's what you're not going to get anywhere else.
Rob, quick question.
I didn't do it, man.
Are we going to be able to swap stable coins in the app? You know, when I'm on exchanges, sometimes I need to swap USDC for USDT and vice versa. Is that coming to the app anytime soon? And also, if you live, for instance, if you live in California and Circle is your provider, will you have access to those other stable coins that will be provided by Wire?
Not at the, so for the second question, not at the moment for on-ramps initially. If your state is approved for swaps, whatever the existing swap pairs are, and I know those are always trying to increase what those pairs are over time. I know our team's working on that. You can do that, right? So if you're in a state, for example, like Florida, who is not supported by Circle, but will be supported by Wire, your options are actually limited. So you're going to be able to purchase 6 stable coins, 6 different ones, but there's no swaps in Florida. So you actually can't use a swap feature, but for many other states, they have both of those features. So you can buy into one, swap to the other. But again, it's all going to depend on your jurisdiction and what the features you have available to use. So just something to keep in mind. Yep, sure.
That answer your question, Otis?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Was that a good enough nugget?
Some pretty good nuggets. Some pretty good. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap for the night. Hope you guys got something out of this. Make sure you're following myself, Zach, and Scott, as usual, as we try to keep this open dialogue for you, especially in these times. So, yep. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget, there's always rooms open throughout the week. Javier, who is South Texan, and Celsius Bro, who is Estevan, run those as well. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, y'all. See you guys.
Huddle on.